Hello children, welcome you all. You know that today we are dealing with a different kind of chapter. Today I am going to take you to the ancient world. There you can meet different kind of kings, there you can meet wonders of the world and many more. So are you all ready? Yes, you are all ready, I know that. So have some writing materials with you and let us dip into the world of ancient civilization. This is the first part of it, okay. As we have a tradition of starting our class with an activity, here we have the first question. See, can you recognize this ancient wonder of the world? Okay, if you can't, don't worry. See, the next question is, can you at least recognize this wonder of the world? Yes, you can recognize it easily, right? Now, there is one ancient wonder of the world which is visible also from the space. Which is that? See, here you can see and tell me the answer. Okay children, if you could not answer for these questions, don't worry, okay. Before this chapter is going to get over, definitely you are going to answer for each and every question, I hope so. Here we have another set of questions. See, which is the first ancient civilization in the world? Do you know it? Who was the first empress of the world? Not India, for the entire world. Who invented the paper for the first time in the world? Who brought the first code of law in the world? If you know the answers, that is really good. If you don't know the answers, that is also good, because you will have to observe very keenly to this class. Okay. First, let me introduce this class to you. See, this lesson introduces about the civilizations like Egypt, Mesopotamia and China. Not only that, their contributions also we are going to learn today. Earlier, if you see, that is during olden age, people just needed food, water, air and light. This was a very basic things they wanted. But as the civilization has grown, they started to get shelter and clothing also. It became, that is shelter and clothing became very essential needs of mankind. Then where do they get such kind of amenities? Yeah, here it is. See, which are the cradles of ancient civilization? That is nothing but the banks of river. Why is that? We can get a very favorable atmosphere around the banks of river, because there you will get water, you will get shelter and you will get many more things which are favorable to settle down up there. So, prehistoric people, they have started to settle down at the banks of river, that is civilization has flourished over here. Okay, what we are going to learn today? See, the banks of the river and civilization, it went hand in hand. So, Egyptian civilization, it was flourished at the banks of the river called Nile. Just like that, Mesopotamia civilization, it flourished at the river banks of Euphrates and Tigris. Just like that, Chinese civilization has flourished at the banks of Hangho river, Yangtze river and Sikiang river. Okay. These are very important rivers which you will have to remember forever. First, let us go for, see, in the order of civilization, Egypt tops first. So far as we know history, Egypt civilization is the first civilization in the world. You have got an answer for first question which I have asked at the before, right? And this civilization has flourished at the river bank called Nile river, and the Nile is regarded as the longest river of the world and it is major north flowing river, and finally it joins at the Mediterranean Sea. As you can see here, see, it flows from here, that is southern part, from here to it goes or it moves towards the northern part, and finally it joins the sea called Mediterranean Sea. Clear now? The Nile river which has given gift to the entire people of Egyptians. Shall we see that now? See, if the Nile would not have been there, the civilization would not have been flourished at all. Egyptian civilization is known as gift of Nile. In this desert, people of Egypt, they are growing n number of crops today. Why? Because this is only because of this river. Now, let us begin our class with political history of the Egypt. So, the first time for the entire civilization, the one set of people, they have ruled the world. Who are those? They are called pharaohs. They have started their ruling about 5400 years ago. That is, Menes was the first king who became the king of pharaohs. Menes, he made a capital of Memphis. Memphis, it was his capital. Next, among all those, Khufu, Amenhotep, Thutmose and Thutmose first and Thutmose were the prominent. Now, you want to see where is Memphis, right? See, here I will show you. Here is Memphis. Children, have you ever heard of the biggest wonder of the world? These are known as Giza pyramids. These was constructed by one of the person. What is his name? Khufu. How does he look like? See, he looks like this. See, this is Khufu. This is modern art, but during olden time also he used to look like this only. Clear? Next is Amenhotep. So, he has expanded his kingdom and established an empire. Just try to understand, the pharaohs were just a kings. Now, he has established an empire only by conquering adjoining places around Egypt. Okay. Next one is Thutmose I was the greatest conqueror among all the later pharaohs. Here you can see both of the pictures, and this area what you are seeing here, this is the established empire of Egypt. I asked you one question before, that is, who is the first empress of the world? See, she is the first empress of the world. Who is she? She is a daughter of Thutmose first. Okay. After him, she has ascended the throne. What is her name? Do you know her name? Her name Hatshepsut. It is her name, and she is considered as first empress of the world. What do you get to know by this? You will get to know that women were given importance during Egyptian civilization. Is it not, children? See, she is the first empress. So, obviously, they might have given more prominence for the women. Is it not? Okay. Next, a big established emperor was fallen into the hands of Rome, that is Ptolemy. He established dynasty in Egypt. About 2300 years ago, Alexander the Great, you have heard of his name, right? If you not have heard of his name, in future definitely you are going to hear his name. So, Alexander the Great, he conquered Egypt. So, he appointed a military general Ptolemy as his representative. Many times it happens, a representative called Ptolemy, later on he assumed throne for himself only. This is very interesting. Entire history, you might have heard that who is a beautiful queen, that is none other than Cleopatra. She is known as very beautiful queen, and she was the last ruler of Egyptian dynasty. And what happened after Cleopatra? Eventually, Egypt has become the province of Rome. Why? Because Ptolemy has already ascended the throne here. Next, now let us come to the point of contributions of Egyptian civilization. They would have given some contributions, right? Let us see that. See, wheat and barley were the food crops they have grown during Egyptian civilization. This is wheat. Almost every one of you might seen this, but barley is it is not familiar in India. So, this is called barley. The water of Nile river was used for agriculture through the canals. See, the canals were look like this. The river which is flowing somewhere else, they have made a canals, they have drew water from that river itself. So, this is known as canal irrigation. Next, the conditions of the slaves, it was really pathetic during the Egyptian civilization. So, why? Because many pictures which are drawn on the walls of Egyptian civilization, that says that the slaves were not treated fairly during that civilization. And what have they done? They have used the slaves to construct a big wonder of the world called pyramids. Do you understand it now? See, the slaves are ill treated here, but it is okay. In history, this was very common, that is, we cannot do anything. From the known resource that the Egyptians pyramid were built by human resources only, but nowadays many people are saying that the Egyptian pyramids cannot be built by the human beings. Some sort of technology they might have used, but scientifically it is not proven yet. Only human being efforts is there in construction of pyramids, they are saying. This Egyptians, they had a greater belief that there is a life after death. So, only they used to practice weird kind of, not weird, some kind of practices. What is it called? That is called mummification. Okay. So, the people of Egypt, they have believed in life after death. So, they used to preserve their dead body and they assumed that in future we are going to get life in the dead body again. They thought so. So they have made a mummification. Do you want to see how are they used to make the mummies? Shall we see that? Okay, here let's see how are they used to make the mummies through a video. The Egyptian civilization people, they have assumed that their cities are guarded by goddess. So sun, river, they are considered as very sacred during that time, and they used to worship these gods, which are those sun and river. However, their gods look like just like this. Okay, so these are the different name of sun, moon, earth and all that, river and everything, but we don't understand it right now today, but they used to worship such kind of gods. Even we do worship different kind of gods, right? Just like that only, even they are worshipping their own god. Next, they used to write it in different kind of fonts. Those fonts are called as hieroglyphics. What is that? Hieroglyphics. Remember it, children? So they used to write it on papyrus grass, which was grown in the river Nile. Their font, I mean to say the hieroglyphics, was just look like this. Can you see this? Yes. Next, so you might have heard Egyptian civilization people, they have created Sphinx. What is the meaning of Sphinx? Let's see now. They had enormous knowledge of geometry, which was used in building large pyramids. Without the knowledge of mathematics, they would not have constructed that big, is it not? So they must have some kind of knowledge. The large statue of Sphinx is the most attractive in Egyptian architecture. What are Sphinx? You can see this here. I will show you the big picture later, just hang on. Okay. The Sphinx is an animal with the body. The body of that is animal, but the face of that is just like head of the man. So those kind of structures are called Sphinx. Children, have you ever seen how does the Sphinx look like during night time? See, it looks like this. See, this is not given in your textbook, but still for the extra knowledge I have just showing it to you. See, this is enigmatic kind of model. This model's name is the bird of Saqqara. Okay, in the most of the pyramids of Egypt, we have found such kind of bird model. So why is it very unique? All because it is just looks like a aeroplane model. So we can assume that during olden times only they might have done some kind of aeroplane models. Okay. Now let's see how does the Saqqara bird used to fly. See, it is flying like this. Enjoyed? So far we have learnt about a Nile river civilization, that is nothing but Egyptian civilization. Now let's come for the next kind of civilization, that is known as the Mesopotamian civilization. Where was the Mesopotamian civilization? The Mesopotamian civilization, it was between two rivers. Which are those? You know that in history these two rivers are very famous. One is Euphrates, the other one is Tigris. See, the Euphrates and Tigris, you can see that Euphrates is here and Tigris is here. In between of those lands, this civilization has flourished. These two rivers have brought a very fertile soil from a hilly area, and it has spreaded, that is called, in geography we call it as denudation. So through the denudation it has spreaded all the fertile soil around this place, that is Mesopotamian place. So only such a vast kind of civilization has flourished in between of these rivers. Do you understand it now? Mesopotamian civilization flourished in the area that lies the valley between two rivers, that is Euphrates and Tigris. Right now if you want to see Mesopotamian civilization site, you will have to go for modern Iraq. This Mesopotamian civilization is here now. In Greek, Mesopotamia means, what is the meaning of Mesopotamia? That is land between the rivers. The name we call it as Mesopotamia because it lies between two rivers. Easy, right? Next, this region was ruled by many more kings, that is Sumerians, Babylonians, Hittites, Assyrians and Neo-Babylonians. These many kings have ruled this. Now let us go for the political history of this civilization. Sumerians, they are the first rulers who have set ruling over this place. Okay? And next, Urkish Lagash, these people are the very important in this era. One thing we have seen, Egyptian people, they used to write it in a font that is called hieroglyphics. What is the format of Mesopotamian civilization? That is cuneiform. The way they used to write it, it is known as cuneiform. It just looked like this. How do they used to write? Nowadays we have paper, pen, we are going to write it on that. How do they used to write during olden time? Have you ever thought of it? Oh no, okay, right. So they used to make the even surface on the clay and they used to carve on it. That is known as clay tablets. This Mesopotamians, they used to write it on clay tablets just like this. Here you can see that a different kind of fonts we can observe. Is it not? Mesopotamia civilization was ruled by Akkadians after Sumerians, but they have conquered by and destroyed by barbarians. Who are barbarians? Let us see later. Later, Amorites and others. Semitic. What is Semitic? Semitic is nothing but those who are following only one religion. They have only one god, that is known as Semitic. A Semitic tribe ruled from Babylonia. Okay, they are very famous. They brought an Akkadian state under their control and established a large state. This happens in history all the time. Babylonians rule was followed by Kassitians and then Hittite race who ruled for some times. Now I told you that how the barbarians used to look like. They used to look like this. See, these were called barbarians. They are called as very ruthless people. They used to destroy everything whatever comes in their way. In history we have an important place for one of the king, that is Hammurabi. So Hammurabi is the most famous king among Babylonians. Why is he famous? All because he has brought code of law for his entire subjects. Subjects are nothing but his people. Okay? His code of law is based on ideas like an eye for an eye and a tooth for tooth. It is like if somebody hurt your eye, so you will have to hurt his eye. In this modern era, this law cannot be subjected to the people. Why? Because if we conduct like this, it will become revenge. This is not justification, but it is revenge. But in history, this Hammurabi has brought code of law. That is good only. It would have looked good during olden time. See, here you can see Hammurabi, he is giving justice for his subjects, that is his people. You can see it here. Nice, no? A good king he would be. Next, Assyrians were defeated by Hittites and ruled Mesopotamia. One king after the other king, they have to come. That is the history. So next, Ashurbanipal was the last great king of Assyrian. He sounds like Indian, right? Ashurbanipal. Okay, so it would be. He was a brave warrior and also a poet. As well as the king, he was poet also. He founded royal library at Neveha. See, this is royal library and this was placed at Neveha. Now also you can see that, but just the ruins, not completely, but just ruins we can see. Okay, next ruler was Nebuchadnezzar. He was great king. He was considered as very great king among all this Babylonians king. Why? Because after Assyrians, another Semitic tribe has established in Babylonia. These are established a Babylonian region. So Nebuchadnezzar, he is the king who is responsible for constructing Hanging Garden. So let us see Hanging Garden later. Now, which is located at Neveha only, where the royal library was there. There only we can see this Hanging Gardens, which was one of the 7 wonders of ancient world. We have many wonders now, but during olden time that was also considered as wonder of the world. So this person is known as Nebuchadnezzar. Now shall we see the Hanging Garden? See how beautiful it is. See, this is Hanging Garden. So there must be a logic, right? Why did he construct the Hanging Gardens? That is because of his wife. Why? Because his wife has come from some other part of Babylonia where the forest was there and the rivers were there and many other, that is greenery was more over there. But as she came here, to living with Nebuchadnezzar, she became very upset towards this region. So only she expressed her thought with Nebuchadnezzar. He constructed a beautiful this one garden around his palace, that is known as hanging garden. Okay, finally we are talking about 2500 years ago. The emperor of Cyrus, he conquered Babylonia. Since then Babylonia has started to downfall. And now let us come back to the main thing, that is what are the contributions of Mesopotamian civilization. Let us know it now. So Mesopotamians, they were the first to adopt the code of law in the entire world. Hammurabi was the first ruler, he enforced code of law, is it not? Okay, we have seen it already. He had prohibited abuse of slaves in his code of law. During olden time only, you know, he has thought about the slaves. He is a great king certainly, is it not? See, here is Hammurabi, and he is giving justice. I feel very happy to say this, Mesopotamians, they were having contact with Indians. Where is Mesopotamia and where is India? See, they were having contact during olden times only. Mesopotamia had established the trade relation. They used to buy and sell the goods from India to Mesopotamia with Harappan civilization and Egyptian civilization also. Not only Babylonia, even the Nile civilization, I told no, Egyptian civilization, there also Indians have sent their goods and they have brought the goods from there. How would it look like? See, it was looking like this. See, here is India and here is Mesopotamia. A huge this one gap is there between these two civilizations. Okay. Nowadays we have different kind of transport system, just like ships we have, just like aeroplanes we have, and at least we have the roadways. During olden times only, using very kind of primitive transportation, they have travelled from India to Mesopotamia. It is really great, is it not? These Mesopotamian civilization, they were constructing their temples or shrines on the raised platform. That raised platform is known as ziggurats. So why were they built ziggurats? Why were they used to construct such a big raised platform for the temples? The first one, because this area which was lying under two rivers, so the floods were very common during that time. So to protect the shrine from the flood, they were constructing ziggurats. Clear now? Cuneiform we have already introduced. Cuneiform script was used by the people of this time, and Gilgamesh is the great epic poem of Mesopotamia. Even now we can see epic story today. See, this epic story is carved on this clay slate. So India has epic stories just like Ramayana and Mahabharata, is it not? The same kind, even Mesopotamians have their epic story. This is not a story, a epic poem, that is known as Gilgamesh. Children, you would like to listen the story, right? See, here is the story of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was a ruthless king. He had a friend, but eventually he dies due to some sort of illness. Then Gilgamesh, he starts an expedition to seek the god and to become immortal. When he goes to the god, God asks Gilgamesh only one task, that is, he has to awake for 6 nights and 7 days. But Gilgamesh fails, and later on gods were pleased of Gilgamesh and he has given some sort of medicines to become immortal. But when he is going back to home, a serpent is nothing but a snake, it eats off that herbs. So he will become once again mortal only. Okay. So human being cannot become immortal, it says. A nice story, right? Next, let us go for one more civilization, that is known as Chinese civilization. So this Chinese civilization, it lies between two rivers, that is Yangtze and Sikiang river. These two flows together, and this, and next one is Huanghe river. This is also known as Yellow river. In between of these two rivers, Chinese civilization has flourished. So if we come to the political history, the first kingdom of Chinese civilization was Shang dynasty. So they ruled from 18th century to 12th century BCE. The prosperity of the Shang people was all because of agriculture, and then the Shang dynasty was replaced by Zhou dynasty, which was ruled for many long years. Now let us see what is Qin dynasty. Wu Wang was the famous king of Zhou dynasty, that is during his time, a well known philosophers, just one is Confucius and the second one is Lao Tse. So these two were there in his dynasty. Qin dynasty came to power after this Zhou dynasty. So only the entire China is now called as China, is it not? So why? Because that is because of Qin dynasty. Shi Huangdi, he unified the China, he brought under the control of entire China. So he was the first emperor of China. Mind it, just focus on this, children. He is the first emperor of China. Who is that? Shi Huangdi. He is the first emperor of entire China. Okay, he built 1500 miles long of Great Wall of China. So I have asked one question related to this, which is the ancient wonder of the world which is also visible from the space. See, this is Chinese the Great Wall. Okay, this was constructed by Shi Huangdi. Next, this Qin dynasty is considered as golden age in Chinese civilization. Why? Because Buddhism entered during this time. The most of Chinese people are Buddhist today. Art and literature was patronized during this time. Hence, this period is known as golden age of Chinese civilization. See how nice Buddha is here. Did you enjoy? Okay. Next, the Silk Route. This is very famous from China to Rome. During golden time, there was a great demand for Chinese silk at the Rome. Okay. So in the next part of this chapter, you are going to learn about Rome. Okay. Be attentive. So from China to Rome, the silk has carried from China to Rome prominently. So this route is known as the Silk Route, and it is for your wonder, children, this route is still prevails. Still you can see this route. See, this route is, it starts from China and goes till the Constantinople. Here you can see that, and after that it was carried by Europeans to their homelands. The new dynasty has come to the power, that is known as Sung dynasty. So next to that, they were very good in making porcelain dishes, and as well as they have invented the wooden printing press. See, the wooden printing press, it was just look like this, and porcelain dishes, they were looking like this. Porcelain, if you do not understand, it is nothing but pingani vastugalu. Now in our kitchen, most of the pingani things we use it, is it not? That is known as porcelain. Mongolians, they have ended the rule of Sung dynasty and they have attacked, that is they have conquered Peking. That was the capital during olden time. Today it is known as Beijing. Okay. So that place was conquered and a huge dynasty or a very wealthy dynasty has came to an end. See, remarkable contributions of Chinese civilization. See, the first one, a person, a Chinese person, he is preparing a tea. Tea was introduced for the entire world by China only. Next to that, marine compass. So the use of marine compass, nowadays it is reduced. During olden time, if anyone travelling through the sea, they certainly would have this marine compass. And later on, children, all of you, you would like to burn the crackers during Deepavali, right? Who invented these crackers? Have you ever thought of it? Yes, it is nothing but Chinese. So these Chinese, they have invented crackers or explosives. Apart from that, paper and all many more things they have introduced. So Chinese had mastered making the crafts from bronze and porcelain. Here you can see one thing, that is bronze idol of Buddha. The next one is porcelain dish. Egyptians have written like hieroglyphics, Mesopotamian have written like cuneiform, and Chinese have written like pictographic. And I told you that Chinese were very good in making papers also. Chinese are the first person to invent the papers to entire world. How were they used to make the papers? So by using bamboos, they have made papers and they used to write it on the bamboo slips only. Top to bottom they used to write it. It is just like this. Okay. Real bamboo paper art from ancient China. Here you can see that this is real bamboo art. Two philosophers from China, one is Lao Tse. His thoughts are based on simple living, sacrifice and harmonious relation with nature. Okay, this is very essential in today's era also, is it not? Next is Confucius. He re-established the lost moral in the society. That is also very important. During that time only they have thought about this. Things what we have seen today is hieroglyphics from Egypt, cuneiform from Mesopotamia and pictographic from China. Finally, here is the home assignment. Please do complete this home assignment and give it to your class teachers, children. This picture is given in your textbook. Identify and label different ancient civilizations in this map. Thank you children for being wonderful audience. Thank you.